The rules for this online Scarlet and Violet tournament were absolutely insane. You could bring only 2 of your 6 Pokémon to each battle, and one of them had to be Koraidon or Miraidon. Normally in VGC, you bring 4 out of your 6 Pokémon. It's all about positioning, pivoting and chipping for damage so you can win in the endgame. With these rules, all of that went out of the window. One bad turn and the entire game was over. This was the Terastal Crescendo, an official online tournament hosted by Pokémon. However, this was not part of the world circuit, so no world points on the line, just pure chaos. So I decided, if it's for fun, I'm going to try and break it. I built a team specifically to instantly win games, while still abusing the restricted legendaries. And there was one surprise MVP that carried me way harder than it should have. First, I chose Miraidon over Koraidon. Why Miraidon? Electric terrain. I expect everyone to bring Rillaboom or Indeedee to override the terrain. So I had to move electric terrain and I had Covid Go, so I could keep control even through fake out. I EV'd it to give a rifle boosted close combat from Koraidon, as long as it wasn't max attack. But the real MVP of the team was MOLTRES. Wait, what? MOLTRES? In a Miraidon and Koraidon format? On paper, Miraidon just outspeeds and nukes with Electro Drift, but because this was close team sheet, I could safely win Terra Ground with Scorching Sands. That makes me immune to Miraidon's electric moves and let me fire back with huge damage. I chose Scorching Sands over Terra Blast, so I could still have a ground move, even without terrestrializing, and I gave it Electric Seed. So when it pairs with Miraidon in electric terrain, its defense gets boosted and actually give hits. This tag was insane into Koraidon too. Most Koraidons go Terra Fire or Terra Steel in this format to resist Dazzling Gleams from Miraidon. Scorching Sands completely punishes that. Dazzling Gleam plus a sand into those Terras can just delete Koraidon. Next up is Rhydon. We can ignore him. That guy never hit the field. The idea was to Lightning Rod support, but in practice it just limits my own options because I have a Miraidon of my own. So bye bye Rhydon. Politoed however was huge. With no switching and being slower than Koraidon, setting up Rain with Drizzle was a safe way to weaken Koraidon's firepower. I gave it Terra Ghost and Focus Sash. Surviving one crucial hit was way more important than bulk investment and risking a critical hit. I also had Iron Hands, the classic AV set but with max speed and play worth for Koraidon. It didn't come every game, but it was a strong option in team preview. And finally my trump card. Iron Trash. High horsepower to delete Miraidons or Force and early Terra. Steel Roller for Terra Fairy Miraidon, Electric Terrain to reset terrain control, and Protect to buy an extra turn that I need. That was the squad. I'm super pumped to show you how this team performed in this weird format. So let's jump into these battles and see how I did. We started off hot. Game 1 was against the Miraidon. The perfect opportunity to test my new strategy. I went for the Terra Ground, survived the Moonblast from Fluttermane, and suddenly I was immune to Electro Drift. On the same turn, his Miraidon was destroyed. It worked perfectly. That's battle number 1 in the bag. Game 2 was a close call. My Miraidon went down early, leaving me in a 2v1, but with Towered Up, I had one win condition. Survived the hit and KO'd the Sneasler. His double protect failed, so I took the shot and we barely got the win. Then came game 3 and the reality check. I lost this one because of, get this, Terra Psychic Psyblade Iron Leaves. Yes, you heard that correctly. It one-shotted my Miraidon, critted my Moltres and completely ruined my momentum. But we had to shake things off and move on. I needed to bounce back and fast. Game 4, he terrestrializes his Raging Bolt, but I KO'd it instantly, winning me the game. Game 5, faced an Annihilate. I thought it was Choice Scarf Final Gambit, so I locked in Steel Roller to nuke his HP. Turns out it wasn't Scarf, and Iron Treads cleaned up with high horsepower against Koraidon in the endgame. Game 6. Game 6 was weird. My opponent didn't even terrestrialize, so a single Dazzling Gleam swept the entire board for the win. Game 7, and my opponent has only 4 Pokémon of the 6. I predicted the Tingu, so I brought Iron Hands and hit close combat before he could even move. Games 8 and 9 were just Dazzling Gleams to win against my opponents. My MOLTRES strategy was catching everyone off guard. They kept kicking Electro Drift into my Terra ground and I kept punishing them. Suddenly we were sitting at an 8-1 record. Now was game 10 and it started against an Among Us. I know support mons are good, but in the format this fast, I was surprised. He protects his Koraidon. I Terra Fairy and then he hits me with a Poképuff. I had to kill Among Us immediately because of the Rage Powders. Koraidon Terra steals and boosts speed with Flame Charge, while Among Us Rage Powders and survives the double up barely. But then he protects both mons and then... again? Big mistake. Among Us goes down, Weather Ball connects and we move to 9-1. Game 11 was a Dragonite Koraidon core. He Terra normals instantly, probably for extreme speed, and sets up Tailwind. He then hits me with an extreme speed and Iron Head, but I survived. It looks scary, but thanks to my COVID cloak, I ignore his flinch chance. Dazzling Gleam and a Weather Ball seal the game, which brought us to game 12. If I win this, I crack the top 100 in the world. He had Walking Wake and the Koraidon. I had a massive decision to make. Do I Terra? If I Terra and he Hydro Streams and Flare Blitz, I just lose. I decided to trust my gut. I didn't Terra and it paid off. He hits me with a fire and water move and I resist both of them. I knocked out the Walking Wake and the Koraidon in return. We are now ranked 74 in the world. That was a huge milestone. But right after the high, the weakness of my team got exposed. Game 13, I lost because Miraidon protected and I already terrestrialized into the ground type, leaving me in a weak spot. Game 14 against a Hippowdon, and you won't believe it, Miraidon protected again! It came down to a speed tie, but I trained my Miraidon to be bulky and slow, so it wasn't a speed tie, and I had no win con here. 2 losses in a row, both the exact same passive play. I needed to stop losing with these plays. Game 15. I equipped Iron Hands against his Miraidon and Iron Bundle. Icy Wind came out, but COVID Cloak saved me again. It didn't matter anyway because I was slower than my opponent's Miraidon. But my Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam picked up the KO on Miraidon and a Wild Charge on the Iron Bundle, and we were back on track. Game 16. I knew his Tornadus had Sunny Day, so I left Politoed on the bench. He had Psychic on Tornadus, which was a choice. Flare Blitz almost KO'd me, but I won because I survived. And like I said in the team building phase, Dazzling Gleam plus Searching Sands just wins against Koraidon, and Tornadus was left in the dust. Game 17. Indeed he tried to remove my electric terrain because of my ability, but I just set it back up with my own electric terrain move. I outsped everything and cleaned the house. Game 18, he locked himself into Terra Bluff with Terra Ghost Koraidon. I actually like the Terra Ghost Koraidon. It looks so cool, but it just let my Miraidon win the endgame for free. Terra Ghost doesn't kill the Moltres and we move on. Game 19. The Sun boosted his Fluttermane speed, but it didn't matter. Dazzling Gleam came down as well as Tailwind, so we were faster anyway. That way we can secure the win. There is only one game left. Game 20. My last game of the tournament. I brought Politoed. He had Randuin's Varian, a mon that needs to Terra because of its ice weakness, but he also needs to terrestrialize his Koraidon because of his fairy weakness. Koraidon protects. I leave the Randuin alone, and then it throws a light ball at me with Fling. To be completely honest, I have no idea what this strategy is supposed to do. I just won the next turn anyway, finishing with a score of 17 wins and 3 losses, placing in the top 400 in the world. But before I wrap this up, you have to see this bonus clip. I technically lost this game, but due to a glitch or disconnect, I didn't receive the loss, but also didn't win. It was like I didn't play the game. But check out this Azumarill strategy. It has Endure, plus Terra Ghost, Bounce, plus Perish Song. That was by far the coolest thing I saw all day. I just didn't attack the Azumarill and he set up Perish Song, then endured and then bounced, and I had no way to knocking it out. It was so cool. I wish I could play more and have a bigger video than this. The problem was I had to work that weekend, so me playing 20 games was still something I didn't know I managed to pull off. Getting in the top 100 earlier was so satisfying because all of that hard work over the years is still paying off, even in the weirder formats. It was such a fast-paced tournament and enjoyed it so much that I want to make more of these. Let me know down in the comments what tournament you want to see next. I can make a Draft League video or a video of a tournament I played in VGC 2009. I can also make my second video of the Invitational tournament I hosted. You decide. If you made it this far, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss an upload. If you want to see more of my longer versions of online tournaments or just online tournaments in general, there is a playlist on screen right now. I will see you there and I wish you all a lovely day.